Hello, everybody. My name is Alexandru Ursu. I'm a regional sales executive for Salesforce, managing digital marketing projects. And today, I wanted to share with you what are the most recent updates in digital marketing world. Where is this digital marketing space going to, and why you should consider a career in digital marketing, and what would be the benefits for yourself and for brands that are interested to hyping up their consumers. The first thing that I wanted to start with is everything that we are talking about should be based in present. So whatever conversation we're starting today, they are based on what is readily existing as technology, and this is something that you should base any of your thoughts on. Starting off, I wanted to thank you for your time and your investment and attending for today's session. It's people like you that keep this ecosystem of Salesforce going and growing for the past 20 years. And we hope that this session will be useful for you in understanding where we are as a business, what we have been working with as customers, and where you could fit in this whole Salesforce ecosystem. The first thing that we want to cover is around Salesforce and digital relationships. And what we want to understand is marketing specifically has been a focus in creating those relationships between brands and consumers. However, what we can talk about today is the fact that the relationships are increasingly important because we need to build them in this digital first customer world. Because over the past 2 years, an increasing number of customers have continued to engage with the brands, but specifically on digital devices. So whether we're talking about mobile apps, we're talking about your laptop, we might be talking about SMS, we can talk about social media. All of these channels are channels which are digital and they don't necessarily mean a physical engagement with a brand. And this is something which is leading to one of the main requirements from consumers and also a challenge for brands because an increasing number of consumers, almost 90% of them, they want to have that personalized approach. They want to be treated as a person, not as a segment and not and in an individual way. And this is also the challenge that we have seen from brands because they have seen the fact that they are lagging in being able to provide this type of personalized experience. So much so that not even 50% of brands are currently being able to provide that personalized experience. And we need to understand exactly why. Well, first of all, because this is something which is not very easygoing. It's actually something which is quite difficult. The reason for doing so is the fact that it is quite hard to make sense of, for example, siloed data. We talk about the fact that this is a rapid change. We talk about the fact that companies rely on legacy tools to make this happen. And last but definitely not least, and I think this is very important to our session today, there is a gap of skill sets for digital marketing knowledge in being able to make sense of the data, to create those meaningful customer experiences, and to use the tools to make this work. So when we talk about this challenge, which is also an opportunity, what is the main driver that kicks all these things off? And what we have seen in over the past 5 to 10 years is that data is the big player when it comes to this because where brands struggle and where this is an opportunity for people looking to set up a new career is in creating that single source of truth. And what does single source of truth mean? Actually, it means to be able to make sense of the data that you're collecting about your customers. So whether we're talking about what they're doing on the website, what they're doing in your e-commerce, what they have been talking with your service team, what they have been communicating with your marketing team as communication, every engagement generates data footprints that you are gathering to use as a brand. And the main important thing is to be able to stitch together all of this data to create that unified profile of your customer, that single social truth. And this is one of the main things that is starting these digital marketing projects, which is the full view of the customer, that single source of truth. And when we talk about what are the requirements or the needs right now, ourselves as Salesforce, we have created a basically a voice of the customer type of report where we're speaking with leaders of the industry. So when we talk about the state of marketing right now, speaking with CMOs, what we have seen is actually over the past year, we can see that the top three priorities of CMOs are also the top three challenges that they're facing with. So first of all, we talk about the ability to create that personal engagement in real time. So that means being able to interact with your consumer on whatever device they might be on at that moment with something that is meaningful to what they are doing or how they're engaging with your brand. The second point is being able to create that omni-channel customer journey across multiple channels on multiple devices with multiple touch points. And the third topic, because we talk about real time, we talk about omnichannel, it's about innovation. Because over the past 5 years, the innovation in digital marketing has been humongous because we have moved from being able to read through static marketing communications to going into harnessing the power of customer data and using this for the customer's benefit to personalize their engagement, to be able to predict what type of a channel they would be best suited to communicate on and what type of an offer or what type of a category of a customer they should be in. And the reason why we're doing this, because we're talking about this improvement of data, we can actually see in the average number of data sources, because this has almost doubled over only 2 years. So from 2020 to 22, we have actually went from only 10 data sources being used on average to almost 20 to 18 data sources being used in in the forecasted 2022. So the point here, which is very important, is data is still king, but it's being used for personalization and for innovation of the way that we connect as brands to consumers. And this is where all these brands, they have this need of having people to work with them to be able to manage this customer journey and to manage the whole experience that consumers have. And in order to support consumers, what we have seen to, and brands as well, what we have seen to be working very well is this ability to create a maturity model. Because we talk about what is the lifetime value based on what type of data architecture customers have, whether it's more basic or more complex, and what type of customer engagement they're actually having. Whether we're talking about something which is fairly static, so just sending them a quick email, or something which is fluid, multiple touch points, multiple channels, the omnichannel engagement model that we would like to see. And when we talk about this, we can talk about a progressive way of becoming a consumer love brand. So we start with something which is very basic and static communication, which is standalone. We can go into having these connected campaigns of multiple channels being connected together, which is more intermediate. And then we go to what is the North Star, which is this ability to connect with your consumer in real time. And we can actually see that brands choose this because there are multiple benefits. We can talk about an increase in retention. We can see an increase in engagement, and then last but definitely not least, it also helps them with increasing the resource productivity, because you are able to manage more campaigns, to manage more messages being sent out to your customers with the same amount of staff, which is increasingly important because it increases your operational efficiency as a company. And just to give an example, we work with a company called Elf Cosmetics, and when we have worked with them on setting up this mapping of maturity, they had this step-by-step process with us. And what they were able to do is, first of all, they were able to visually map customer journeys. So they were working with consultants that might be you one day that actually helped them map out exactly what they want to do. Then through this system, they were able to define or work together with these consultants to define what would be the best artificial intelligence algorithm to optimize the marketing messages. So they basically started and kicked off a machine learning or artificial intelligence model that understood what would be the optimal time of send, what type of content they should send to customers. And then last but not least, one of the other points which is important, and again, talking about skill sets, this is something you might want to look into as well for the present and future, is their ability to integrate beyond just marketing and going into connecting marketing experience with the commerce experience, with the customer service experience. So creating that holistic connection of a consumer with a brand, which is consistent across multiple business areas and across multiple touch points. And this is where customers want to get to, and this is where you can help them on this path. And this is how we work at Salesforce as well. So just to explain, we in Salesforce over the past 20 years, we have built this platform that is here to help integrate all of the needs that customers have, from sales to customer service to digital marketing that we're talking about today, to e-commerce to integration and so on. So the point here is you are able as a brand to better understand who your customer is, so to create that customer 360, put the customer at the center of your business, and take that data that you're collecting to use as the ethos of personalization and having that humane interaction with your customers. And when we talk about digital marketing, we focus on, let's say, four main areas here that we want to talk about. So the first one is by using data, brands are able to know their customers better. So by understanding all of the data points that they are collecting, making sense of that data, and understanding who their customers really are, creating that single source of truth, they are truly able to know who their customers are. The second point is by using that data, you're able to humanize every moment that you have. And then last but definitely not least, you're able to optimize the impact. So that means understanding how your campaigns are working and what works and what doesn't in this whole world of of ever-changing performance of marketing campaigns. So if before we were talking about just brand awareness from a marketing perspective, today we are truly talking about being able to understand what is the performance of the campaigns that you're having. And to do this, of course, you need to rely on the data of the campaigns that you're running with. All of these things put together give companies the ability to adapt with agility in this ever changing and innovating world of digital marketing. So, this is why it's important, but they also rely on people with skill sets that can help them cope with all these things. And this is what's also very important because this is truly an opportunity. So when we talk about the benefits, if we take them step by step, first of all, talking about knowing your customer. So when we talk about, unifying the data, this is something which is very important because it can help with saving hours of data processing. It can give the ability for a consumer or of a brand to create that data model that they can use to engage with their customers and to create that overview profile. So through using a tool like Salesforce, companies are able to connect multiple data sources. They are able to create an increasing number of segments and save up on the number of hours. And right here, what you can see is, for example, the example of Boston Scientific, which have been able to save, just to say the least, over 6,000 hours of working per week in creating these data models for customers. So by not having a repeat situation, by being able to create a standalone data model for marketing activities, this has yielded them into saving more time for the teams to focus on what's really important. The second topic that we discussed about is by understanding the data, we can then use it for personalized communication. So in this situation, what we can do as a brand is we can figure out what type of campaigns we want to run and create either trigger moments for those campaigns to start or to be more reactive and based on real-time moments that consumers are doing a specific action, we can come to them on the device or on the channel that they want to be engaged with and give them something which is meaningful to the moment of the journey as a consumer they are in or relevant to what they are trying to do right there. So the point here is we are giving the ability to create this omni-channel, multi-touch point, multi-step campaign management, which can be either proactive, so that means the trigger moments, or reactive based on what customers are doing. So in this situation, for example, Momentive were able to double their investment in such a platform. And the second point is they have seen a growth of over 8 million contacts during the pandemic era, which is very important and as well is also good to tackle what is going to be what we call the cookieless future. Because as we all know, for example, Google will be removing third-party cookie advertising in the next couple of years. And the first party, which is your website, your mobile app, your email, is something that companies are striving to do in order to better connect with their customers. And then last but definitely not least, we talk about being able to make sense of how your campaigns are doing and to be able to optimize the impact. And this is something which is very important because you can connect and analyze millions of rows of data and use it as a brand to better understand how your consumers are engaging with you. And this is very important because you can understand through unified analytics what works well and what doesn't in your campaign strategy, in your marketing strategy. So this is very increasingly important because you understand what is the impact of your campaigns and what is the return on investment of all the marketing efforts that you're doing. So you're going more towards performance marketing than brand awareness marketing, which used to be in the norm 10, 15 years ago. So, what's in it for you as future consultants or people who want to look into a career? Well, the point is, throughout all these steps about knowing the customer, about personalizing the relationship, about making sense of the campaigns, This is something that companies are looking to find and to find help on and support on. And this is where your role can be fitting, because you can work, for example, as a data scientist, you can work as a campaign manager, you can work as a marketing cloud consultant to define data models. So what you can help is help customers understand what data sources they have and how they can better harness the power of the data they're collecting about the customers. Help brands create their data models and create that single source of truth and understand who their customers are. Be able to create campaigns and create these meaningful conversations with customers based on the data that we have collected, so we can help brands better their personalization efforts to create multi-channel, multi-step campaigns and strategies, so that they can better engage with their customers and they can create that meaningful conversation. And last but definitely not least, you can also help them make sense of the data by working together with them to understand what campaigns work better, what don't, and how they can focus on what really matters for them as a marketing effort. So this is, as we talked about, given the fact that this is an ever-changing domain, and this is something which has been growing exponentially over the past 5 years, it's a lot of innovation, it's a lot of progress that we have seen here, and there's also a huge requirement of skill sets. So what we want to explain here is, throughout this process where you're bettering your skill sets, you can always look into other options as well. So whether we're talking about the fact that you can use the benefit of a platform to upgrade your skill sets for customer experience when it comes to customer service, for the sales experience, for e-commerce experience, you always have this option, because Salesforce itself, as mentioned, is a platform which is unified. The second point is, you're never alone on this path. So by using our forums, our resources, our tutorials, you can always get more knowledge about what you want to do and understand a bit more of what your role might be for the future. Another topic which is important is, if you don't want to go the traditional path and you see, for example, an app that you would like to develop, Salesforce's open ecosystem gives you the ability to create your own app and integrate it on the Salesforce platform with various functionalities that we have, be it marketing, service, or sales. And last, definitely not least, actually might be even the first point to start off, is you have this free learning for all approach that Salesforce provides you. So you can actually go on Trailhead and get your improvement on your skill sets based on what areas you want to focus in on, whether it's customer experience, whether it's digital marketing, whether it might be e-commerce. All of these things are available. Wrapping up for today's session, I want to thank you for attending our session. I hope it was insightful and useful. And where I would like you to what I would like to leave you with an action item is for you today to go onto trailhub.com, create your own account, and start working and creating your own skill sets, or improving your skill sets, whether we're talking about digital marketing, we're talking about customer experience, we might be talking about sales, we might be talking about technical support. The future is yours, and you definitely have the ability to make this worthwhile. Once again, my name is Alex Ursu. This is Salesforce, and we want to thank you once more for your time today. Have a great day ahead.